Welcome back, Focus learners. Today's explainer is a deep dive into the hidden architecture of the business world. We're setting the stage to uncover exactly how businesses group together to consolidate power, share knowledge, and, frankly, influence the rules of the game. We'll be specifically looking at the economic landscape in Pakistan to see these concepts in action. If you've ever wondered how the corporate world really organizes itself behind closed doors, you are absolutely in the right place. Let's jump in. Here's how we're going to break this down today. First, we'll look at the power of combinations, then see exactly how companies integrate. After that, we'll explore the role of associations, dive into chambers of commerce, and wrap the whole thing up with why these alliances actually matter to you. All right, Section 1, the power of combinations, joining forces. So you know how incredibly fierce the market can get, right? Sometimes the absolute best way to beat your competition is literally to join them. We call these business combinations. You can basically think of these as corporate marriages. It's where two totally separate business entities legally unite to become just one single entity. And why do they do it? Well, the goals are pretty clear. They want to achieve massive economies of scale, eliminate the competition, expand their market reach, or get their hands on new tech and talent. At the end of the day, it is all about becoming bigger, stronger, and way more efficient together. Now, these corporate marriages, they come in all shapes and sizes. A friendly acquisition, like when Facebook bought Instagram to lock down more market power, is fundamentally different from a takeover. Takeovers are often pretty unfriendly, like when Vodafone aggressively took over Mansmon just to create the world's largest mobile telecom company at the time. Then you've got joint ventures, where companies stay completely separate but create a new business baby together, like Sony Ericsson. Or amalgamations, which you'll see a ton of in the banking sectors of India and Pakistan. Moving right along to Section 2, how companies integrate, structural mechanics. Okay, so once these companies decide to tie the knot, how exactly do the puzzle pieces fit together? There are two wildly different strategies here. On one side, you have horizontal integration. This is when you absorb your direct competitors who are at the exact same stage of the industry as you. Think about when Jazz merged with Wari Telecom. They horizontally integrated to form Pakistan's absolute largest mobile network. But on the flip side, you have conglomerate integration. This is where you completely diversify your risk by combining totally unrelated businesses. Take the Lucky Group in Pakistan, for example. They operate in cement, textiles, automobiles, and energy. Or the House of Habib, which spans everything from auto manufacturing to finance and even education. It's a completely different playbook for growth. And then there's vertical integration. This is what happens when a company essentially buys into its own supply chain, either upstream or downstream. A perfect international example of this is Amazon acquiring Kiva Systems. By buying the very company that makes warehouse robots, Amazon vertically integrated so they could automate their own fulfillment centers. Locally in Pakistan, we see this with Nishat Mills. They're a textile giant, but they vertically integrated into power generation with Nishat Union Power, just to guarantee a steady, reliable energy supply for their core business. Pretty smart, right? We've talked a lot about these corporate marriages, where companies become one. But hey, what happens when independent rivals actually want to cooperate on shared interests, but firmly want to stay completely single? No marriage, just shared interests. This question pivots us right from the micro world of corporate mergers into the macro world of collective voices. That brings us to Section 3, the role of associations, collective voices. Enter the trade and business association. If business combinations are corporate marriages, you can think of associations as kind of a labor union, but for companies. Instead of merging their actual operations, companies voluntarily pay membership fees to join nonprofit organizations. By pooling their resources, they can hit shared goals. They lobby the government for favorable policies, set industry-wide standards, organize huge international expos, and run crucial market research. Basically, they're acting as a single, incredibly amplified voice for their entire sector. Now, these associations aren't a one-size-fits-all deal. You've got trade associations, which are hyper-focused on one specific industry. For example, the All Pakistan Textile Mills Association, or APTMA, which advocates solely for the textile sector. Then you have chambers of commerce. These represent a wide variety of businesses, but are focused on one specific geographic region, like the Lahore Chamber of Commerce. You also have professional associations for specific careers, like ICAP for chartered accountants, and employer associations that zero in on things like HR and labor regulations. Of course, organizing a bunch of fiercely independent businesses is no walk in the park. As our sources point out, these groups face some very real structural realities and challenges. They often have to navigate political interference, and they frequently deal with a lack of consistent funding. On top of that, there's often tension regarding unequal representation, where the loud voices of large multinational corporations might completely overshadow the small and medium enterprises. And finally, a lot of traditional associations are really struggling right now with limited digital transformation in an increasingly fast-paced world. Let's look closer at Section 4, Chambers of Commerce, Bridging the Gap. Let's zoom in on a highly influential player in this space, the Chamber of Commerce. This is perhaps the most critical bridge connecting the private sector straight to the government. They operate regionally, and man, they are powerhouses of economic development. In Pakistan, you've got the Karachi Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the KCCI, which represents the country's biggest industrial and financial hub. Another incredible example is the Sialkot Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the SCCI. They are famous for their export-led growth, and they actually pioneered massive public-private partnerships. Get this, they fully funded and built the Sialkot International Airport themselves. Just let that sink in. So how exactly does the whole thing work? To demystify it, it starts right at the grassroots level. A local business voluntarily pays a membership fee. Those members then elect an executive committee, and that committee elects a president to lead the chamber for the year. From there, they form specialized working committees to tackle super-specific issues like taxation or IT. Once they're organized, they coordinate their regional needs with the National Federation. And ultimately, they act as a direct liaison, actively lobbying with government ministries and the Federal Board of Revenue. And all of this bubbles up to the very top of the pyramid. In Pakistan, that top spot is held by the FPCCI, the Federation of Pakistan Chambers of Commerce and Industry. Established back in 1950, this is the ultimate national voice for Pakistan's private sector. We're talking about an apex body representing over 200 different chambers and trade associations. It's the primary advisory body to the government for national economic policy, and it's the group representing the country's business interests globally at the World Trade Organization and SAARC. Which leads us to our final part, Section 5, Why These Alliances Matter, the Big Picture. We have covered a ton of ground today, from micro-mergers all the way up to macro-federations. But what is the big takeaway for you? Why does this matter? Well, whether it's through a massive horizontal merger to corner a market, a vertical integration to lock down a supply chain, or a regional chamber of commerce fighting tooth and nail for favorable tax policies, collaboration is the name of the game. These structured alliances are the invisible engines of the economy. They literally dictate how efficiently goods are made, what rules govern the market, and ultimately how an entire nation's industrial development actually progresses. So, I want to leave you with a thought to really chew on. Look around you right now. The internet service you're using, the bank where you keep your money, the clothes you've got on, all of it is shaped by this invisible corporate architecture. How are the alliances, mergers, and trade associations operating in your region, quietly shaping the products you buy and the economy you live in every single day? Keep that question in the back of your mind the next time you scroll through the business news. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on this explainer. Focused learners, keep asking questions, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next one.